Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today so you want to do a New Year's Eve look. So this is the look I decided to do. Quite a simple eye look actually, but just with a pop of colour in the inner corner. When I first did it, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about it, but I actually really like it. And just in seeing how I got this look, then please keep on watching. So first of all, I'm going to take my Hint Beauty Concealer, and I'm actually using this with a damp sponge, and I'm just pressing into the product, and I'm going to pop this on my skin to act as my foundation today. Usually I pop some on the back of my hand and mix it in with a moisturiser or primer, but I wanted slightly more coverage as it is a New Year's Eve look, something slightly more glam, so I wanted a bit more coverage from it, so I'm just doing it this way. And it does apply really beautifully to the skin like this. And then I'm going to go and take my little concealer brush and pop some of that just more concentrated on the areas where I need it, so under my eyes and on any spots, just to add the extra coverage to those certain areas. I'm just going back in the sponge just to make sure everything is nice and blended together. So then I'm going to take my Inner Curve Baked Foundation in the shade Grace and use this to set and add extra coverage to those areas, because like I said, this is a New Year's Eve look, so I want to go a bit more glam than I would usually go. But actually I'm using a different sponge, and it's a dry sponge, just because I prefer to use that with this product for some reason. Okay, then going into the skin portion, I'm taking the Total Face palette from ALverde and taking this bronzer shade first, and using this to warm up my skin, add some dimension back and things like that. So I'm taking this around the perimeters of my face. I also just dust this a little bit along the nose as well, just add a bit of definition there, not to contour, but just add a little bit of definition and a bit of a sun-kissed look. Then for blusher, I'm taking the Nip and Fab blusher palette. I'm not sure what the shade name is called, because I'm never sure how, like, if the names corresponding on the back are directly behind the shade, or, you know, how you look at the palette. So I'm just taking that shade there and adding it to my cheeks. I'm just using stippling motions just to pop that onto my cheeks and blend up into my contour areas. And then I'm just going back in my sponge just to make sure that all is nice and blended together. Okay, so for highlighter, no surprise, the Divina Organics 24 karat highlighter. Just taking this on my ruby brush as always and popping this in my usual areas. So tops of cheekbones, just above the brow, down the bridge of my nose, cupid's bow, and I do actually stick some under my brow bone as well. Oh, and thank you for all the lovely comments on the latest video, the Green Beauty 2018 video. That was a collab. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I've had some really lovely comments and things like that, so thank you very much. Okay, so moving on to the brow portion, I'm taking the ALverde brow gel just to shape my brows in place. And then I'm actually going with my Lily Lolo eyebrow duo in dark just to fill in my brows. Moving on to the eye portion. Oh no, sorry, I go back in with the ALverde gel just to set that all in place. Now moving on to the eye portion, so I'm obviously going to go in with my Lily Lolo eye primer as always, just to set prime my eyes ready for the eyeshadow. And actually in this whole makeup look, the eye look, I only use two eyeshadows. So the first eyeshadow is this Nabla eyeshadow. It's actually a pressed pigment, not eyeshadow, and this is in the shade Pitch Black. And I'm taking this on a Real Technique shading brush, and I'm just going to start to pack this onto the outer portion of the lid. So with a pigment like this, you need to make sure you don't set your eye primer, because it needs something to cling on to. So I'm packing it on first and then taking a blending brush, this is from Lily Lolo, just to start buffing out the eyeshadow. So I want the main focus to be on the outer corner, and then I just buff it softly across the lid towards the inner corner. And I just clean up any mess I've made with the beauty blender as I go along. And I just keep going back and forth, packing on my shadow just to make sure the outer portion is intense enough, and then going back in with the fluffy brush just to make sure the edges are blended. So like I said, I do like to go back and forth and keep building and then blending and building. So eventually you kind of get this gradient effect across the lid. And then just to really emphasise that gradient look, I actually took the Inica Baked foundation on a flat brush and just popped it in the inner portion of the lid just to help neaten it up, and like I said, kind of really emphasise that gradient effect. So actually, although I said 2 eyeshadows, technically I guess I'm using 3 products on the eyes, but this isn't an eyeshadow. Obviously. So then I'm taking that pitch black shade on a pencil brush and I'm just running this lightly along the lower lash line. I wanted to add something there to tie it all together, but I didn't want to go too heavy, so I'm just picking up a small amount and just buffing it along, making sure it joins on the outer corner. And then for the pop of colour, I'm taking the Nabla eyeshadow in Virgin Islands, a very beautiful shade. I'm actually wetting a flat brush to apply this. And I'm literally focusing on the inner corner. And when I first did this, I wasn't sure how I actually felt about it. I didn't think it looked quite right. But I realised I think that's because I brought it too far out. So you'll see in a minute, I'll go back in my concealer brush just to kind of tidy it up, to make sure it's really focused very close to the inner corner and not brought out so much. And I think it looked much better that way. So then I'm going with some mascara. This is a Kiko Extra Sculpt Volume Mascara, and giving my upper and lower lashes a good couple of coats. So like I said, it was a very simple eye look, 2 eyeshadows plus a bit of foundation, and that was it for this look. And you could just leave out the blue if you're someone who doesn't like pops of colour. And then for the lips, I decided to go in the Colourpop Ultra Satin Lip in Aquarius, and I just pop this all over the lips, and then that completes this look. So that is the finished look. Like I said, I really like how it turned out. I'm glad I did that pop of colour in the inner corner. It just gives a little bit of something extra and a bit different. And yeah, so I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. The next video you'll see will be my general cruelty-free 2018 favourites for the year. Yeah, so leave any requests down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.